Hey everybody, welcome to our Saturday drill class. As always, we're going to start with some fairly simple basic drills and build them up to more things. Today we are going to be working with the longsword, or in my case, Kriegsmesser. But later on we're going to be looking at some half swording, or if you have it, spear techniques. So we're going to start with some fairly simple sword actions. And we're partly looking at today doing actions where we maintain our the position that we're in terms of what side the sword is on. So we're looking at keeping our positioning the same, our foot orientation with our body the same in order to structurally support those. So we're going to start super simple. And I'm going to start in the Beauregard in Flug or Aber. And I'm going to do the thumb grip because I find that easier. So from over here, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift the pommel. I'm keeping my upper hand where it is to bring my point down to basically Alber or a gate guard. And then we can come back up. And if I look at you straight on here, as I lift the pommel to bring the sword down, my point should be to my left here. So I'm not coming into the middle or anything like that. I'm just coming straight down. All right, so we're going to do 10 of those. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, now we're going to do the same thing on the other side, but it's going to be a little bit different because when I'm in my Beauregard on this side, my hands are crossed, which means that when I lift up, my wrists are pushing against each other, so my hands have to work a little bit more in conjunction with each other. But again, if I'm facing straight on, as I lift that pommel to bring my point down, my point should stay to my right-hand side this time. The other thing is I'm in the thumb grip, but on my right, it's a little hard to tell the difference between the thumb grip and the handshake grip. All right, so starting in our Beauregard, again, we're going to do 10 straight up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so the reason that we're looking at doing this is for a technique that we do a lot, which I often refer to as let no changer. It's also the Mutirin, or the follow-up to the Mutirin, the transmuting. And the idea here is that I'm going to lift my pommel to bring my point down, and then I'm going to bring my pommel around to make a semicircle. And basically what I'm doing is I'm dropping my sword down, and if thread is coming in here, I'm circling around to pick it back up. This is also das Radl, the wheel, for when you're approaching a fight, and a whole bunch of things like that. So we're going to do that just to the air again on the left. So I'm starting in a Beauregard, and I'm going to lift the pommel and then circle around. And as much as possible, I want you to keep your right hand where it is and use it as a fulcrum, or your upper hand, whichever hand that happens to be. All right, so down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Now, we want that to be fairly precise and tight, but we do want it to be big enough that if we don't know where the threat is, we can pick up anything that's coming in to target. And I've got other videos where I talk about that. Now, again, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm left foot forward, starting in the Beauregard. And again, I'm going to lift the pommel to bring the point down, and then I'm going to circle around to pick up any threat and take it to the outside. All right? So again, 10. So down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so that's doing that same thing on both sides. Now, I am going to take a quick switch to using the spear. And with the spear, we're only going to do it on the right-hand side. And I am going to mention spear and half swording work the same way. So half swording is when I let go of the pommel and I move my lower hand up to about a shoulder width apart on the blade, theoretically halfway along the blade. And I'm now using my sword like a spear. So this works with the spear. Now here, the distance between our hands makes some of our leverage options a little bit different. So we have to do things differently. And half swording is primarily used for armor, which does affect targeting and a bunch of other stuff. But this is just a drill class. We don't need to go into too much detail. So the idea here is the same thing, though, where I'm going to drop my point. And in this case, I am actually using my upper hand, my left hand to bring that point down. And then I'm going to circle back up. So I'm going down and up like that. As I said, though, I'm going to switch to the spear for this. And when I'm using the spear, I like to have my right hand about my forearm length up the haft, and then my left hand again about shoulder width apart. And again, it's the same thing where I'm lowering my spear down and drawing that big capital letter D. So we'll do 10 of those with half swording or with spear. So down and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And of course, I noticed as soon as I switched to spear and started doing it, that I do actually use my reverse hand to power everything. So there you go. Sometimes sometimes what I think I'm doing is not exactly what I remember having trained it for so long. All right, so that's the action with the spear. Now, we're going to put this in conjunction with some footwork, but first we're going to put the footwork in isolation, and we're going to be looking at our gather steps. So we do have videos on our gather steps, but we basically have two kinds of gather steps. We have the regular gather and the triangular gather. So when I'm doing a regular gather step with my back foot, I'm going to go forward and out to the side. And if you think about making a quarter circle with your step like this, that's what I'm doing. And then with this foot, I'm going to make a quarter circle and come back so I'm in the same orientation. And that's how I do my regular gather. For my triangular gather, I'm going to bring my back foot around behind me like this and a little bit forward. And then with my front foot, I'm going to make a quarter circle like this. All right. So if you don't have a lot of room, I apologize, but we're going to do a few steps. So we'll have to stop and turn and go back and forth. But I'll do 5 steps forward, then I'll turn around and come back the other way. So 1, and I'm alternating between triangle, 2, and regular gather, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, one of the reasons I like to alternate is it keeps me more or less in a straight line. So we're going to do 5 more so you can see what I'm talking about from straight on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course, my feet have gone out of frame as I got close to the camera. All right, now, there are a number of ways that we can put this in conjunction with the actions that we're doing. So we're going to do this quite slowly, but we're going to choose what I generally like best right now. So when I'm dropping the point of the sword by lifting the pommel to start das Riddle or whatever, we always want to move the sword first and then the body and feet follow. So I am going to drop the point, but as I'm starting that drop, I'm going to step out to the left. And I took quite a large step there. If you don't have a lot of room, it's okay to take a smaller step. The step only needs to be as big as it needs to be, if that makes any sense. All right, so I'm going to drop the point and left. And then from here, I'm going to do the circle. And at about halfway through the circle, I'm going to follow up with a step forward. And then I'm going to drop the point and triangle step and circle. All right. So again, I'm going to do 5 across the room. So drop the point, step, start the circle, step. Drop the point, step, start the circle, step. Drop the point, step, start the circle, step. All right. And we'll do 5 more going back across the room in our limited space. All right, so that's our gather on the left using our das Riddle. Now, we can do the same thing on the right. So we are going to start with just doing a few steps. And again, our gathers and triangular gathers work the same way. It's just our feet have reversed orientation. So now my left foot is my front foot, my right foot is my back foot. So when I'm doing my step, I'm going to step with my right foot out to the side, and then my left foot forward. My right step behind me, and then forward. All right? And so again, we'll do 5 in each direction with this. So here, I'm out to the side, forward. Behind me, forward. Side, forward. Behind me, forward. Side, forward. All right, and turn around, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, now, when we put the weapon together with the step, we're going to start with our regular grip with the sword rather than our handshake grip, and it's going to work the same way as what I said before. I'm going to drop my point down, and that's where I'll step to the side. I'll start to circle, and then I'll step forward. Drop my point and step back, start to circle, step forward. All right, so from here, drop the point, step, circle, step. Drop the point, step, circle, step. Got ahead of myself. And back the other way. All right, so that's the normal steps, or the steps with the normal grip on that side. And again, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to switch to half swording, or if you have a spear, we can switch to spear. So again, right hand is about forearm length from the butt of the spear. And starting here, I'm going to lift up the butt end to bring the point down, step out to the side, start to circle, follow through. Lift up the butt end, step back, start to circle, step through. All right? And again, we'll do that 5 times in each direction across the room. So I'm lifting up the butt end, stepping, circle, stepping. Lift, step, circle, step. And going back the other way. That's why I started in the wrong position. Just a little comment on when I said I started in the wrong position. With our spear, all of our material comes from armored combat. And for armored combat, our target options are limited. It's basically face through the visor, palm of the hand, armpit, back of the knee, top of the foot are the places where you can penetrate armor. So if I'm facing you with a spear, my palm is an exposed target if I'm in the boar guard. So usually we actually start here. So with the spear, we're often doing that circle with the side step and then extending. But that's a different situational application. And it's good to practice just this way. All right, now I do want to tie this together with one of our steps, with one of our passing step strikes, sorry. So I'm gonna switch back to the sword, and we're just looking at doing the counter strike shoot long or the Zornhau Ort. So we're going to start with that from my tower guard, left foot forward, because I'm right-handed. I'm going to drive with my right hand to bring my sword across. And we're just going to start with that. And remember, don't go fast and hard. You're actually putting strain on your elbow and shoulder to stop if you go fast and hard right now, because we are stopping ourselves. All right, so we'll do 10 of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and now we're going to put in the rotation on our feet, hip rotation at the end of the strike, and follow with a step. So it will be sword, rotate, step. All right, we'll do that quite slowly. Sword, rotate, step. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so then the next thing that we're going to look at is just switching to the thumb grip. And I'm going to move up nice and close here. I'll do it on this side. So remember, from our pinched handshake grip, I want to push the pommel and snap my thumb up onto there. So we're just going to do that to the air here 10 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add that to the end of our counter strike. So starting from the shoulder, sword forward, rotate on the balls of my feet, step, rotate into the thumb grip, and I want my sword to be horizontal, just lower than shoulder height. All right, and then we'll reset. Sword, rotate, step, thumb grip. 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 One more. Sword, rotate, step, thumb grip. All right, so from this point, we're going to go right into our let no changer come before your sword. So I'm going to lift the pommel and step out to the side, circle around, step forward. So from straight on, it's sword, rotate, step, thumb grip, lift, step, circle, step. All right, so it will be hard to count while going through all of the steps, but I'll do my best. Sword, rotate, step, thumb grip, lift, step, circle, step. And we'll reset. Sword, rotate, step, thumb grip, lift, step, circle, step. We'll do 3 more of that. Sword, rotate, step, thumb grip, lift, step, circle, step. One more. All right, so that is the main thing that I wanted to work on today. But as we did last week, I'd also like to finish up with a couple of passes of our Einzelstück. Still haven't talked about whether or not we're going to actually change the name of that or not. But yeah, we'll do the Einzelstück a couple of times. And for that, I'm going to switch weapons again. All right, so we'll go through slowly once. I'm starting in my tower guard, and I'm doing my strike, winding into ox in the thumb grip, stepping back with the shielder, stepping forward with a thwarter, second thwarter, back with a parter, back to high Famtag. Strike all the way to the floor, abschneiden, waker, shoot long, go through, snap over. All right, and then we'll reset. So we'll do 3 more of those. So Zornhau, winding, Schielhau back, thwarter forward, parter back, back to high Famtag, Wechselhau, abschneiden, waker, go through, schnappen, recover. I'm going to face away from you for the next one. Might make it easier to follow along. So, strike, wind high, Schielhau back, thwarter forward, parter back, back to high Famtag. Wechselhau, abschneiden, waker, through, schnappen, recover. Strike, wind, shielder, Querhau, Scheitelhau, high tower, Wechselhau, abschneiden, waker, through, schnappen, recover. All right, so that was everything I had planned for today. We're a few minutes ahead of time. I'm going to stop the recording, but for those of you who are watching this live, Matthew and I are going to demonstrate a little partner exercise that you can do. So stick around. Thanks for coming out.